Prep 2. Today we will talk about lesson 4, water, of our science course. Water, as we know that water is H2O, as we all know, okay? But in this lesson we will talk about properties of water and water pollution. Two main parts, which are properties of water and water pollution. Let's start. First, the structure of water, the composition. Water is composed of 2 hydrogen atoms and 1 oxygen atoms. The angle found between the two bonds linking between oxygen and hydrogen is 104.5 degrees. And this bond, as we said before, that it's formed due to sharing of electrons. So this bond is called covalent bond, and it's single. So it's a single covalent bond and another single covalent bond. Again, the bond found between oxygen and hydrogen is formed due to sharing of electrons. So it's a covalent bond, and its type is single. One bond and another one bond. Okay, single covalent bond, another single covalent bond. The angle found between the two bonds is 104.5 degrees. Another water molecule, same components, oxygen atom and 2 hydrogen atoms with 2 single covalent bonds linking between the atoms, and the angle found is 104.5. I may ask you in the exam, what is the angle between 2 covalent bonds of water? 104.5 degrees. And as we said before that hydrogen has a positive effect and oxygen has negative effect, because oxygen has more electronegativity. So the negative effect of oxygen attracts the positive effect of hydrogen, forming another type of bond which is called hydrogen bond. So in a cup of water we have 2 types of bonds. One of them is found inside the molecule, which is called covalent bond. The other bond is found between water molecules, which is called hydrogen bond. To describe the hydrogen bond, we said positive effect and negative effect, attraction between positive and negative effect. This is called hydrogen bond. Water structure is composed of 2 atoms of hydrogen and 1 atom of oxygen. So each water molecule is composed of 1 oxygen atom and 2 hydrogen atoms. What's meant by hydrogen bond again? It's a weak electrostatic attraction. Electrostatic means attraction between positive and negative. Okay, weak electrostatic attraction between the water molecules. When I ask you, there are space bonds found between oxygen and hydrogen of the same water molecule. It's a single covalent bond. I'm talking about only 1 molecule. 2 single covalent bonds are found. But when I ask you, there are space bonds between water molecules, hydrogen bonds. Okay, so the difference between covalent bond or single covalent bond and hydrogen bonds is single covalent bonds are found in the same water molecule between oxygen and hydrogen, while hydrogen bonds are found between the water molecules. Okay, when I ask you, give reason there are hydrogen bonds found between water molecules. Because oxygen has a higher electronegativity than hydrogen. The higher electronegativity of oxygen atoms produces a negative effect on oxygen, which attracted the positive effect of another water molecule, forming hydrogen bond between the molecules of water. Now we talk about properties of water. First one is physical properties and chemical properties. Okay. Physical properties, like water exists in 3 states at the same temperature, and we will see. Number 2, it's a good polar solvent. Number 3, it has high boiling and freezing points, high boiling point and high freezing point. Its density decreases on freezing. As we freeze water, the density decreases, and that's why ice floats. Chemical properties, like water has neutral effect on litmus paper, as we remember that litmus produces red color in acid and the blue color in base, but in water it produces a neutral color, which is violet. Number 2, water electrolysis. Let's start physical properties. The first one is Water exists in 3 states at the same temperature. I'm not talking about the temperature of water. I'm talking about the temperature around the water. For example, in this picture we see ice, solid, water, liquid, and water vapor, gas. 3 states of water at the same temperature, okay? If I have a cup of water, it contains liquid water and a piece of ice, and we have water vapor around us. So water can exist in 3 states at the same temperature. Number 2, it's a good polar solvent. Good polar solvent means if I have a cup of water and another cup of water, in the first one I added salt, in the second one I added oil, in the third one I added sugar. What do you expect? Salt and water dissolves or don't? Salt dissolves in water. Oil doesn't dissolve in water, while sugar dissolves in water. Okay, let's see why. In the first case, salt and water. Salt dissolves in water, producing salt solution. Okay, I have a solute which is salt, I have a solvent which is water. Okay, give reason salt dissolves in water because salt is ionic compound, so water can dissolve it easily. So water can dissolve most of the ionic compounds. For example, any ionic compound in water dissolves easily. Okay. The second case is sugar and water. When I ask you, give reason, sugar dissolves in water. However, it's not ionic, it's covalent compound. Logic, covalent compound doesn't dissolve in water, but sugar can dissolve in water. However, it's a covalent compound. Why? Because sugar can form hydrogen bonds with water. If I have a covalent compound and this compound can form hydrogen bonds with water, it dissolves easily. Okay, so again give reason, sugar dissolves in water, however it's covalent compound because sugar can form hydrogen bonds with water. Okay, the third case is oil plus water. Oil doesn't dissolve in water. Give reason, because it can't form hydrogen bonds with water. Okay, oil and sugar are the same, both of them are covalent compounds, but sugar can form hydrogen bonds with water, so it dissolves, while oil can't form hydrogen bonds with water, so it doesn't dissolve. The third property is water has high boiling and freezing points. For example, water boils at 100 Celsius degree and it freezes at 0 Celsius degree. Scientists thought that water boils at less than 100 and freezes at less than 0, but they found that water has higher boiling point than expected and a higher freezing point than expected. Okay, so water boils at 100 and freezes at 0 Celsius degree. Give reason, due to the presence of hydrogen bonds. Hydrogen bonds needs more energy, so we have to give more heat energy, so water boils at 100. And hydrogen bonds collect the water molecules together, so they freeze faster than expected at 0, not at minus. Okay, the physical property number 4 is its density decreases on freezing by decreasing the temperature of water. Okay, its density decreases because when the temperature of water is less than 4 Celsius degree, if I have a cup of water and I decreased the temperature to less than 4 Celsius degree, okay, the molecules of water start to form hexagonal shaped crystals of ice. Hexagonal shaped crystals of ice, so they take more volume and the density decreases. Okay, so the volume increases and density decreases, as we remember from prep 1 that as the volume increases, density decreases inversely proportional. Okay, so when I ask you, give reason ice floats on water surface, because ice has lower density than water. Because ice has lower density than water. Okay, give reason ice has a lower density because when the temperature is less than 4 Celsius degree, hexagonal shaped crystals of ice are formed, and so the volume increases and density decreases. When we put a glass bottle completely filled with water, in the freezer, it explodes or broken Because when water freezes, its volume increases. As the volume increases, it will make simple pressure on the glass bottle, so the bottle will be broken or explode. Chemical properties. First one is water has neutral effect on litmus. Water has neutral effect on litmus. How come? If I have an acidic solution or acid, they produce many positive ions of hydrogen, so the litmus change into red. If I have bases or basic solution, they produce many OH minus, which is called hydroxide ion negative, changes litmus into blue. So acids change litmus into red, while bases change litmus into blue. Okay, if I have water, let's say, when I break water molecule, it produces equal number of H plus and OH minus. H plus acidic effect, OH minus basic effect, same amount, so the effect is not basic nor acidic, it's neutral effect. Okay, when I ask you give reason pure water has neutral effect on litmus, because water produce equal amount or equal number of H plus and OH minus. Water electrolysis. Okay, this is the first part of our session. Okay, thank you. Okay, prep 2. Now we will continue our lesson. This is part 2 of water. Okay, water electrolysis is the second chemical property. The word lysis means breaking, and electro means by using electricity. So we will break down water by using electricity into oxygen gas and hydrogen gas. Okay, this process needs a special device which is called Hofmann's voltameter. Hofmann's voltameter. Okay, this device is called Hofmann's voltameter. As we see, I have water right here, okay, and some sulfuric acid, and we will know why. Okay, by using the device, the water will be broken down. The water will be broken down into oxygen gas evolves at positive pole, and hydrogen gas evolves at negative pole. The positive pole is called anode, and the negative pole is called cathode. So when I ask you, gas evolves at anode, it's oxygen gas. Gas evolves at cathode is hydrogen gas. Water electrolysis is the decomposition of water into hydrogen and oxygen gases by using electricity as a source of energy. Okay, and as we see that the volume of hydrogen is double the volume of oxygen. Again, the volume of hydrogen evolved at cathode is double the volume of oxygen evolved at anode. So for example, if I have 20 centimeter cube of oxygen, I have 40 centimeter cube of hydrogen. According to the equation, two molecules of water are divided by using electrolysis and by adding diluted sulfuric acid into one molecule of oxygen gas and the two molecules of hydrogen gas. So the volume of hydrogen gas is double the volume of oxygen gas. When I ask you again, if the volume of oxygen is 10 centimeter cube, so the volume of hydrogen is double, 20 centimeter cube. Okay, if the volume of hydrogen gas is 30 centimeter cube, the volume of oxygen is 15 centimeter cube. This is Hofmann's voltameter. As we see, oxygen is found at this place above anode, the positive pole, and hydrogen is found above cathode, the negative pole, and the volume of hydrogen is double the volume of oxygen gas. Oxygen and hydrogen. Number 1, oxygen is the gas evolved at anode, while hydrogen is the gas evolved at cathode. Number 2, the volume is half the volume of hydrogen. The volume of oxygen gas is half the volume of hydrogen gas, so the volume is double the volume of oxygen. The volume of hydrogen gas is double the volume of oxygen gas. Increases the fire of glowing splint. If I brought a lighted match, for example, near this opening, and I open the faucet, okay, the gas which is found, which is oxygen, will increase the fire found in the lighted match. While in this side, if I brought if I brought hydrogen gas and I brought a lighted match here, okay, it burns with pop sound like the sound of popcorn, okay. Test your mind. Pure water has a neutral effect on litmus. Give reason, as we said before, because it produces equal number of H plus and OH minus. Give reason, we add a few drops of sulfuric acid to the water during the electrolysis process. Why do we have to add sulfuric acid on water during the process? Because water is a bad electrolyte. Water is a bad electrolyte or bad electric conductor, which means water can't conduct electricity in such a good way. So we have to help it by adding sulfuric acid, which increases the rate of electricity passing, okay? Give reason, increasing the glowing of a splint when we approach it to the gas at the anode. Why? When we approach a glowing splint to the gas found at anode, which is oxygen, okay? Because oxygen gas evolves at anode, increases the glowing of the splint. Space is gas evolves at anode, while space is gas evolves at cathode. Oxygen evolves at anode, while hydrogen gas evolves at cathode. Number 2, if the gas evolved at anode has a volume equal 20 centimeter cube, at anode is oxygen, right? Okay, so the gas evolved at cathode has a volume equal double 40 centimeter cube. Number 3, what happens if we approach a glowing splint to the gas evolved at cathode? What happens if we approach a glowing splint to the gas evolved at cathode, which is hydrogen? It burns with pop sound. It burns with pop sound. Number 4, the volume of the gas evolved at anode equals double the volume of the gas evolved at, half the volume of the gas evolved at cathode. At anode it's oxygen, at cathode it's hydrogen. So the volume of gas evolved at anode is half the volume of the gas evolved at cathode. The second part of our lesson is talking about water pollution. Okay, water pollution means it's not pure. It's addition of any substance to water that it changes the properties of water and affect our life. So we have two conditions, okay? Two conditions together. Number 1, the substance must change the properties of water. Number 2, it must affect my life, okay? For example, adding sugar or salt to water, it's not a pollution because it doesn't affect my life. While throwing wastes in water, it's a pollution because it changes the properties of water and it also affects my life. Types of water pollutants. Pollutants means the things that causes water pollution. Okay. Number 1, natural. Number 2, artificial. The first one is lightning accompanied by thunder. If a lightning occurred, nitrogen and oxygen are attracted, forming nitrogen oxides that are brought down by raining to the soil, which affects the water. Number 2, death of living organisms. Death of living organisms in water without any human interference. It's a natural reason. When an animal dies in water, it causes pollution, but I have no interference in something like this. Okay. Number 3, volcanoes. If a volcano occurred in water, no human interference. So number 1, 2, and 3 are natural reasons. Natural reasons. Artificial, there is a human interference. We are the reason for something like this. Okay. Number 1, throwing sewage in the rivers. Throwing sewage in the rivers. Number 2, overuse of chemical insecticides or chemicals. Okay. Number 3, burning coal and oil that causes acidic rains. The types of water pollution, we have 4 types of water pollution, which are biological pollution, chemical pollution, thermal pollution, and radiant pollution. Okay. The first one, or the photos, biological pollution. The reasons: mixing animals and human wastes with water, the sewage of humans and animals. When they are mixed with water, they cause biological pollution. Okay, the harms of this pollution, something like this. Number 1, bilharzia worms. Okay. Number 2, typhoid, which is a disease. Okay. Number 3, hepatitis, which means liver inflammation. Okay. Chemical pollution, reasons: throwing factories' wastes and chemicals in seas, rivers, and canals, like this, okay? It causes the harm or the disease depends on the element that is taken by our body, okay? For example, if I drank some water containing lead element, they cause death of brain cells, If the water contains mercury, it causes blindness, okay? If the water contains arsenic, it causes liver cancer. Thermal pollution, like this, increasing the temperature of water with a huge amount. The reasons for thermal pollution is rising the temperature of some marine zones due to the cooling of nuclear reactors. If I have a nuclear reactor which produces a huge amount of heat, I have to cool it, okay? The produced water after cooling will be very hot water, which causes the rising of temperature that separates the oxygen dissolved in water. So no oxygen in water, no oxygen available for the marine animals, so they will die. The last one is radiant pollution. Its reason: dumping the atomic wastes in ocean, throwing the wastes produced from nuclear reactors in oceans, okay? Number 2, leakage of some radioactive substances to the water. If I have a nuclear reactor and some substances are leaked to the water, they cause radiant pollution. Thank you for listening. This is the end of our session. I hope you understood it.